In this final outcome, we step back and ask what ICT is really worth to your academic work. The focus is personal, using your own examples to weigh up how technology improves both the quality and the efficiency of what you produce. ICT does far more than replace pen and paper because it genuinely lifts the quality and efficiency of your work. On quality, it means clearer writing, better evidence, and more professional presentation. And on efficiency, it means faster research, easier editing, and quicker collaboration. This outcome asks you to draw on personal examples to evaluate those gains in your own studies. In other words, it's not about ICT in the abstract, but about what it does for you. Email is still the main formal channel between you, your tutors, and support staff. A clear subject line, a polite greeting, and a concise message tend to earn faster, better replies. And a professional tone matters because an email is a lasting record. It's always worth a quick reread before you hit send. Used well, email gets you timely help and leaves a written trail you can look back on. Beyond email, a few communication tools each have their strengths. Email is best for formal contact with tutors and gives you a clear record. A discussion board suits group debate since everyone can read and contribute. And a virtual learning environment like Moodle keeps materials and submissions in one central place. Video calls bring live tutorials and group work to you at a distance. Knowing which channel fits the moment saves a lot of back and forth. A virtual learning environment such as Moodle is really the online home of your course. It holds your lecture materials, reading, forums, quizzes and assignment submission, and your feedback and grades come back through it too. Getting comfortable with the VLE keeps you organized and means you never miss materials or deadlines. Checking it regularly is one of the simplest study habits you can build. Evaluating your use of ICT sensibly starts with knowing your own strengths and gaps. A quick self-assessment, rating your confidence across key skills, gives you an honest snapshot. And you might find, say, that your research and word processing are strong, but your spreadsheets are weaker. That kind of candor isn't discouraging. It simply tells you where to focus your effort. You can't improve what you haven't first noticed. Two ideas anchor this whole outcome: quality and efficiency. Quality is about how good the work is, its accuracy, clarity, evidence, and presentation, while efficiency is about how much you achieve for the time and effort you put in. To evaluate, you weigh the strengths and weaknesses using real examples and reach a judgment. Keeping both in mind stops you praising speed at the expense of substance, or the other way round. Let's make quality concrete. Picture comparing a handwritten essay with one produced using ICT. Words, spelling and grammar tools cut your errors and raised accuracy, styles built clear headings, and an automatic contents page that sharpened the structure. And a chart from Excel presented your data far better than words alone could. Add correct Harvard referencing, and the ICT version came out clearer, better evidenced, and altogether more professional. Now for efficiency. Imagine pulling together a group presentation under real-time pressure. Searching a database found your sources in minutes rather than hours lost in a library. Editing on screen let you redraft without starting over. And a shared file in Google Workspace let 4 of you work at once. With a saved template sparing you any fuss over formatting, a task that once ate a whole week was done in 2 evenings. That's efficiency you can actually feel. AI tools can lift your efficiency too, helping with planning, summarizing, and checking. But they have to be used ethically, which means verifying the output and doing your own analysis rather than taking it on trust. Always declare and reference any AI use, following UK Versity policy. Used honestly, AI is a genuine study aid, but used dishonestly, it tips straight into academic misconduct. When you evaluate your skills, start by naming what you already do well, with specific examples. You might say you can search databases and reference confidently using Cite Them Right, or that you produce well-formatted documents using styles and templates. Pointing to concrete examples is far more convincing than a vague, "I'm quite good with computers." Recognizing your strengths builds confidence and shows you what to build on. Just as important is being honest about where your ICT skills are thinner. Perhaps your spreadsheet formulae are basic and you'd like to learn charts and functions, or you know you need to check AI output more carefully before relying on it. Naming a gap like that isn't an admission of weakness because it's genuinely the first step towards closing it. Assessors value that kind of honest self-awareness. A simple action plan turns good intentions into progress. You self-assess to rate your confidence across key skills, prioritize 1 or 2 areas to work on first, then act using tutorials, LinkedIn learning, or practice tasks. After that, you apply the new skill in a real assignment and review how it went, setting your next target. That loop of assess, act, and review is how digital skills actually grow. Feedback is one of the clearest signals of how effective your ICT use really is. It's worth analysing tutor comments for patterns, a repeated note to reference your charts, say, or to cut the text on your slides, because patterns point to habits. Peer feedback in group work adds another angle, showing how others experience your contribution. The real value comes from acting on it, turning advice into improved practice. Here's how acting on feedback looks. Suppose a tutor notes that your slides carry too much text and your charts aren't labelled. You cut each slide back to a few key points and move the detail into speaker notes. Add clear titles and sources to every chart, then apply the same fixes to your next assignment before submitting. The next round of feedback comes back stronger, which is clear proof that feedback improved your practice. The ICT skills you're building for study are prized well beyond it. Word processing, spreadsheets, presentations, email, and online collaboration are everyday workplace skills, and awareness of data protection and online safety matters in almost any job you can think of. Perhaps the most valuable skill of all is being able to pick up new software quickly, since employers know tools change constantly. In that sense, this unit is quietly preparing you for work as well as university. It's easy to map these academic skills onto the workplace. Referencing and research become finding and evidencing reliable information at work. Spreadsheets turn into budgets, records, and data analysis, and presentations become pitching ideas to colleagues and clients. Online collaboration underpins remote teamwork, while your online safety and data protection habits translate directly into handling information securely and lawfully. The same skill set simply changes its clothes. One of the most satisfying parts of this unit is seeing how far you've come. Comparing your confidence at the start and the end shows real, measurable growth, and areas like referencing, spreadsheets, and online safety often improve the most. That evidence of progress is precisely what this outcome asks you to evaluate, and where skills are still developing, you simply set fresh targets and keep going. It's worth remembering that not everyone starts from the same place, because access to devices, internet, and skills varies a great deal. College resources like computer rooms, laptop loan schemes, and support services help close that gap. Recognizing this encourages you to use ICT ethically and to support peers who have less access than you do. Valuing inclusion is a real part of using technology responsibly in academic work. Leaning on ICT brings clear benefits, but also some limitations worth naming. On the upside, you get faster research and editing, higher quality presentation, easier collaboration, and skills that carry into work and study. On the downside, technical problems and lost files can bite if you haven't backed up. It's easy to over-rely on tools like spell check or AI. Access and skills differ between learners, and distraction is always lurking. An honest evaluation holds both sides in view. Weighing it all up, ICT clearly improves both the quality and the efficiency of academic work. The benefits, from better evidence and clearer presentation to faster collaboration, outweigh the risks, and those risks are real but manageable with good habits, like backing up, checking output, and keeping your use balanced. The considered judgment is that ICT is a powerful support for academic success when it's used skillfully, safely, and honestly. That personal, example-based judgment is exactly what this outcome is after. Let's bring this final outcome together. ICT improves both the quality and the efficiency of academic work, and tools like email, discussion boards, and Moodle keep your communication and study running smoothly. You evaluate your own digital skills honestly through self-assessment, then use tutor and peer feedback and an action plan to improve, referencing any AI tools ethically along the way. And because these skills are so transferable, the overall benefits comfortably outweigh the manageable risks. That brings the unit to a close, with you able to recognise and evaluate the real value of ICT in your academic work. You've reflected on your own strengths and gaps, seen how feedback and an action plan drive improvement, and mapped these skills onto the workplace. If you'd like to read further, Cottrell's Study Skills Handbook and Cite Them Right are excellent companions. And Jayeski's digital capability resources are well worth exploring for developing your skills beyond this course. Do make use of the ebooks and journals on the unit's Moodle page and take any lingering questions to your tutor.